Hey, what's up guys? Today in this YouTube video, I'm going to be talking about my journey with trading and how I got to where I am today. So this is going to be a fully raw video, no fancy edits, just you and me and the camera. And yeah, it's quite a long story. I always tell people when people ask me, how did I get into trading? How long did it take me to become profitable? And I always say for me, like compared to the stories that I've heard, it's quite a unique story in terms of time period and also the amount of curveballs that came into my life while I started trading. So a little bit about myself. When prior to me actually starting with trading, I was busy studying strategic management, right? A boring BCom degree, and I mainly studied strategic management purely because it was kind of what my dad wanted me to do. Not really, but kind of. Having an Asian dad, their best wishes are a doctor, an accountant, an engineer, all right? But when I was applying for university, the job categories that stuck out to me, weird enough, was CEO, all right? And I know it's very, very broad, but at the time when I was looking through the university pamphlet and I saw CEO, I was kind of like, that sounds amazing. CEO is kind of like me being my own boss, me being in control. And I didn't know it back then, but that's essentially what I wanted. But it just made a little bit more acceptable because it was the university route, it was the 9 to 5 route, and it was something that I could study. So I decided to study strategic management. And to be very honest with you, already in my first year, I absolutely hated it. It was quite exciting because I was in a new city and, my own, in my own space. Everything that I did was for myself, by myself. But besides the freedom, me studying strategic management, although it was quite a lenient degree, I absolutely hated it. So already in my first year of university, I kind of thought this isn't necessarily going to end well, because I see myself not going to lectures, falling behind with work. So it just wasn't really going to end well. And I kind of stuck through with my first year. Didn't do great in university, I think purely because I just didn't enjoy what I was studying. The only thing that I really did enjoy was probably statistics and marketing. And you might be thinking like, you don't like studying strategic management, but you enjoy statistics. What is going on? I think, to be honest with you, that's just like the Asian in me. The Asian in me. And I don't like math. That's the thing. I really don't like math. But for some reason with stats, I enjoyed it quite a lot, as well as marketing. So in my second year of uni, I thought, look, I'm falling behind. I have to do extra classes and stuff. I need to do something, right? I need to do something. So I started trying to think of business ideas. Me and my friends, we would always speak about business ideas. Every single time that we would hang out, we would talk about this cool idea and this cool idea. And I was like, you know what? Why not actually put some action into that business idea? Why not actually pursue it and try see what happens? What's the worst case? What's the worst thing that could happen? So I stumbled upon a YouTube video from Gary Vaynerchuk. I was trying to surround myself with good business advice and like-minded people, right? And the way I did that was through YouTube. So Gary Vaynerchuk said one thing that kind of resonated with me in my second year of university, and that was, if you are like 19, I can't remember the exact age range, right? But like 19 to 25, all right? You can mess up as much as you want, all right? You have no responsibilities and no liabilities. Look, that is subjective to, your upbringing and your situation with life, but majority of people don't have responsibilities and liabilities from the ages of 18 to 25. So from 18 to 25, you don't have any responsibilities and liabilities. You can afford to take risks and you can afford to take mistakes, and it won't necessarily affect your life because you still have a lot of time. All right. So the moment I heard that, I was like, you know what? I'm in my second year of university. I'm turning 20 years old. Let me do something. Let me take a risk. I have lots of business ideas. Why don't I just try pursue one? So I had this idea where it was essentially a nightlife application. All right. So it's kind of like the Uber for nightclubs, bars. So with this app, businesses could register. If they had events, there would be a little flame that would light up, and then if you click on the profile of that business, you could see photos, you could see the socials, and I wanted to implement all the social media stories into that one profile. So if they were posting on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, all right, you could see it in one place. You could reserve tables, you could pay through QR codes, you could upload your identification so that you don't have to carry out your identification when you go out. All right. So I had this idea. I thought, boom, this is it. I'm literally going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. All right. I got really excited. But one problem, I don't know how to code. All right. I don't know how to code. So I for the next 2 weeks, I was kind of just sitting on my hands because I didn't know what to do. If I had to start learning code, it's going to take me forever. And it won't necessarily be at the quality that I want it to be. So I got a few quotes from South African app developers. And the app that I wanted to develop was going to cost me roughly 1 to 1.5 million rand. All right. That's roughly, let's see, what exactly, let's just say 1 million rand. 1 million rand to USD. So it was going to cost me roughly between $54,000 to like $65,000 to develop this app. And guess what? I'm 20, I have no money. Like, what am I going to do? All right. So I was like, this isn't necessarily over. I'm sure a lot of founders have these issues, and they find a way, right? They find a way to make it work. So I decided, look, I'm going to do what I can and create essentially Photoshop files of how I want the app to be. So kind of just build a roadmap of how the app should work, should function. And the moment I can find maybe a partner or someone to develop it, they have it there ready. So in the meantime, I was doing that. I was learning more about business, more about the tech space. I stumbled upon, again, this TED Talk. I think it was called, it was some dating app. All right, these ladies were doing a TED Talk on their app. And they said that they came through the same issue. And what they did was, for their first launch, they outsourced it to Fiverr or Upwork, right? So Fiverr or Upwork is essentially a marketplace where freelancers can, you can find people to do like a bunch of work, right? They're all freelancers. If you want to create a poster or a new logo, or you want someone to code an app for you, that's the right place to start. So I found this guy from India. It was going to cost me 60,000 rand, which was essentially $3,000. All right, so $3,000 compared to $54,000 or $65,000. All right, I was like, okay, awesome. This seems more attainable, but again, another problem, I don't have $3,000. All right, and look, I don't come from a really, really wealthy family. Not even middle class, just slightly under. For me to ask my parents for $3,000, it's a lot of money, all right? A lot of money. So I knew the moment that I had to ask my parents for this, if they were willing to, go ahead and take this risk with me, I really had to make this work. So did it. my mom actually gave me the money without my dad knowing, because my dad didn't really want me to do anything else but university. Did it, developed the app, got some businesses on board, got a little bit of attention from the public space, and I managed to put myself in this networking situation. Well, I didn't actually manage to do that. My friend that works at a firm connected me with this person, all right? So this person was an investor from Groupon, and he basically just said, look, your idea is amazing. I have this French company that essentially just develops a bunch of apps. Why don't you come and work with us and we can develop this app? So I literally thought, this is it. I'm done. You know, this is the point where I become the Asian Mark Zuckerberg, all right? So the moment I got that news, I was like, look, I have to go all in, right? I can't be at university and continue doing this app because I won't be able to give it my all. The work from university and the expectations of the app, I really have to choose. So what I decided to do was in my second year of university, well, actually towards the end of my second year of university, so approaching my third, I decided to drop out. And I know it's such a cliche, but I decided to drop out university and just fully pursue, go all in with this venture. So I dropped out of university, worked on the app for 6 to 8 months, and within that 6 to 8 months, I wasn't really making an income at all, right? Because the app wasn't necessarily ready to launch. So what I did was I needed to essentially find a way to make money, but that won't necessarily take too much time, right? Because I'm investing a lot of time into this app, and I don't necessarily have an abundance of time to work a waitering job or whatever, right? So I stumbled upon trading, all right? And the way I stumbled upon trading was probably the most stereotypical way that you can stumble upon trading. And you'll understand why I say that in a little bit. So for some reason, this YouTube video popped up on my For You page, all right? And it was this guy from the UK that essentially bought a Mercedes AMG GT, all right? And then also went to Selfridges and bought a bunch of designer clothes in the same day. And he was super young, all right? Super young, covered with tattoos, wearing great clothes. And I was just like, what the hell does this guy do? Turns out he was a day trader, right? And that kind of sparked my interest with day trading, because I was like, okay, you can have a car, you can have designer clothes, you can live a lifestyle like him if you day trade. So that sparked my interest with day trading, and why I say it was stereotypical how I got into day trading was because the materialistic stuff actually intrigued me about trading, all right? And that's what you see a lot with nowadays. You see all these traders flexing their cars, their houses, their watches, guilty, right? That materialistic stuff got me interested, all right? Because that was essentially validation for me that, look, this must work. So I started playing around with day trading. I remember downloading a MetaTrader app, and then instantly there was like $100,000 in my thing, right? But it was fake money. So I was just playing around, you know, buying, selling, I don't know what I was trading. And then I just saw a big fluctuation with money, and I was like, wow, this is really easy, all right? This is really, really easy. And then I decided to actually put real money in, and I saw my ass really, really quick, all right? Turns out it's not really that easy, and to make $1,000 with $100,000 is easier than making $1,000 with $50, all right? So I was like, okay, let me actually maybe try find a different approach than what I'm doing now. And for me, I was based in South Africa, all right? And the way South African traders portray themselves was a little bit suspect for me. I didn't necessarily align with some people's brands, so I didn't necessarily trust them, right? And this is actually quite funny because for me, my second approach to after losing my $50 was, look, I'm going to try give someone money so that they can trade for me, all right? And that was the lazy approach. I'm sure a lot of you people watching this now, you've kind of been in a similar situation where you feel like you're incapable of doing it, and you just want the shortcut of giving someone money to trade for you to get a return, which I can tell you now is probably the worst thing that you can ever do, all right? And there's multiple reasons why that's such a bad thing, which I can literally go on another video and talk about. But for now, I was lazy. So the way this guy promoted himself was as if I could make 5,000 Rand a day, all right? Me investing 15,000 Rand, I could make 5,000 Rand a day. And 15,000 Rand for me was like $900, $800, around there. But that was still a lot of money for me. So the reason why I went with this guy was not only because of the numbers that he was telling me what I could earn, but also because he was based in the UK, all right? And for some reason, because he was based in the UK, I had more faith in him. Turns out it was a scam, all right? I got scammed. I lost $900, and I honestly felt at that time I hit rock bottom with trading, because the one time that I traded, I lost. I didn't know what I was doing, and I lost my money literally within 5 minutes. The moment I tried to put trust into someone, I got scammed and I lost. So for me, there was no real angle for trading, and I really wanted to give up. I remember just sitting in my apartment and thinking, like, I've literally lost like so much money, and I really wanted to give up. But I realized it's the same thing with the app, right? Just because the things aren't going my way doesn't necessarily mean it's not possible, okay? I see a lot of people doing well with trading, and I'm not too sure whether that's real or not, right? At that time, I wasn't sure whether it was real or not. But I just said, look, I'm putting no effort into my trading. I can't expect to make $200, $100 a day without me putting effort, right? So what I decided to do was study. A good friend of mine, he was trading Bitcoin, right? He was heavy into crypto, and I had no idea, like, what he meant by day trading crypto. I was like, okay, cool. Like, you trading something that is digital, whatever, all right, sick. But he recommended 3 books to me. It was called Day Trading for a Living, something about technical analysis, and Japanese candlesticks. And I remember the moment I opened the books, I felt incapable again, right? Because there was an abundance of knowledge. And eventually I realized that all of these educational books, especially like the more old school ones, really make you feel stupid, all right? Because that's how I felt when I read the books. I felt really stupid and incapable of being able to trade. But I put my head down, I read the books, and I started trading by myself, right? So I had a little bit of extra money on the side. By extra money, I probably, to be honest, the maximum amount that I had was probably $1,000 left, all right, that I could put into trading. Once that $1,000 is gone, I'm donezo's, all right? I have nothing. So while I'm learning how to trade, and while I'm trading, I'm losing $1, I'm making 20 cents because I'm very scared, right? I'm scared to actually trade, but I'm also going really small because I'm learning. But the learning curve starting off was super low, and it just slowly started climbing, right? And we'll get to that point of how it reached to a good standard of growth. So at that time, when I was learning to trade, I was still doing the application, right? I was still doing the application, and I realized that also my trades, I think it was after like 2 weeks, there's nothing really to show. I'm making 20 cents, I'm losing like $1. Look, even if I make $1 in one day, it's not going to be life-changing. It's not going to do anything for myself. So what I decided to do through mutual friends, I decided to join my very first Signal group. All right, my very first Signal group. And I didn't really know how Signal groups worked, but all I saw was people sending screenshots of them making money, right? And it was a lot of money. I saw people making roughly between $100 to all the way to $10,000 in a day, all right, in the Signal group. And to be very honest with you, I was actually making money in the Signal group. I was making close to maybe $100 a day on average. Yes, there would be days when I would lose as well, but on average, I was making roughly $100 a day purely through the Signal group, right? And I'm not going to take any credit. It was purely through the other guy's trades. He'll just say, buy this, sell this. This is your stop loss. This is your TP. And I'll just follow it to the T, and it would work out. But I had this fear, all right, that nothing good lasts forever, all right? I can, with the amount of money that I'm making now with the Signal group, what happens if these guys suddenly disappear? What happens if they decide not to provide signals anymore? What happens if they fall ill and they can't provide signals? That income is gone, right? So I decided, while I'm still in the Signal group, I need to keep on learning and keep on perfecting my craft with trading. Seeing what they do, trying to replicate it in some form, but just trying to learn with their signals. If they sent a signal, I'll try and make it make sense for myself, right? And at that time, it was one of the toughest times ever for me because towards the end of 2019, that's when COVID essentially hit. And if you have a good understanding of my app's business idea and what COVID did to the world, you'll know that my app is completely destroyed. COVID completely eliminated my app. And I went through a big stage of depression the moment we had to close the doors on our application. And depression and fear, right? Because that was literally everything I was holding onto in terms of like the life that I wanted to have, the person that I wanted to be, was heavily reliant on that application, right? On that application doing well as well. So I had to reanalyze stuff. COVID hit, it's lockdown. The only way I'm making money is through this Signal group and through trading at the moment, right? But it's not enough to sustain me, and it's also not enough to sustain my family. And I'll get into the family bit a bit later. But essentially, the moment I knew that the app was gone and trading was the only thing that I had, I promise you, I did not lock in. I mean, I haven't locked in harder in my life than what I did then, all right? I read every single thing. I watched every single video. I backtested every single strategy. And I felt at a good point with knowledge in terms of trading, right? I had my own system. I did not know exactly what my system was. I just had a certain style of trading. And the style that I had back then was purely through third touch trend retests and breaks, right? Break, retest, and then I'll take a trade based off a trend break and retest. My first month going all in, I made $14,000 to $15,000 in trading, all right, through day trading, purely just through the volatility of the markets, what COVID gave us, and trend breaks and retests, all right? $14,000 to $15,000, and that was the most money I've ever made in that period, all right? Now my second month was the biggest lesson of my entire life, all right? My second month, I lost $10,000 trading, and I lost $10,000 in 2 weeks, all right? 2 weeks, I lost $10,000, and I got super confident with myself coming into that second month. Like, look, I literally made the most money that I've ever made. I'm hot right now, you know, let's keep this going. So I lost $10,000 and I was scared. I was scared to trade again. I was like, you know, I would look at the markets, I would see a setup that I would take, but I wouldn't take it because I just lost $10,000. So after losing that $10,000, I decided to take a little bit of a break with trading, all right? I lost $10,000 in 2 weeks. The remainder 2 weeks, I decided to just take a break and not step away from the charts in terms of constantly monitoring it and still having my setups. I would still do analysis every single day after losing that $10,000, but I wouldn't trade, right? And if I did trade, I would paper trade because I wasn't in the right mindset and I didn't necessarily have the emotional strength to handle trading right then and there, right? But what I actually learned was that $10,000 saved me hundreds and thousands of dollars. All right, me losing that $10,000 in 2 weeks saved me hundreds and thousands of dollars. Why? Because I learned about risk management. That first month when I was trading, when I made $14,000 to $15,000, I had zero risk management. Because look, I was trading my own funds, right? I didn't know about prop firms back then. I was trading my own funds. I had no real system with risk management. I would literally go in and trade full port, try and make as much money as I could. The moment I see a good amount, I would close, right? So it was definitely unsustainable and not necessarily a good rule or criteria for trading, right? I had zero rules, zero criteria. I just had a decent system, all right? So I realized, look, I can't keep on doing this. I can't keep on being up so much and then losing so much. And if I keep on going like this, I'm going to be digging a hole for myself. So I managed to build a risk management system for myself based off my strategy. And to be honest, the risk management system wasn't necessarily perfect, right? But it was something. I had some form of management for my trades, not completely going in and hoping for the best. So first month it was profitable. Second month I almost lost all my profits. And then for the remainder of that year, I didn't have a single losing month. All right, I had losing trades 100%, but I made sure that every single month I came out profitable. Now, within that year, a lot of stuff happened to me personally. Right, my parents owned a restaurant. Obviously, the restaurant industry was completely messed up with COVID as well. And by the grace of God, thankfully, that I was making a lot of money, and in such a quick period of time, I was able to support them as well. All right, and that was the biggest blessing for me too. The first year of me trading, I remember I spent zero cash because I was stuck in a hotel room, just barely sleeping, trying to trade every single thing that I saw. The only thing that I did spend money on was buying my mom an iPad and then buying myself a secondhand Xbox. All right, because it's lockdown, you know, I'm not going to be staring at charts the whole time. I also want to play some FIFA, some COD. You know, I'm human. All right. But what I also realized was, you know, while I'm trading and I'm making pretty good money, I need to invest my money. I need to save money, right? And for me, I didn't necessarily think that buying property was a good idea, also because of COVID. I didn't think buying stocks was a good idea. But for some reason, I decided to buy crypto. And I know a lot of you guys watching right now, you'll be like, why did you decide to buy crypto instead of traditional stocks or property? All right? And I'll tell you why. The same thing of when I first started trading, I saw a lot of people made so much freaking money with crypto. All right? So much people made life-changing money with crypto, and I kind of wanted a piece of the pie. The first cryptocurrency that I got into was actually Dogecoin. All right? The only reason why I got into Dogecoin was because I had a little bit of edge with that investment. Why did I have edge? I traded NASDAQ most of my trading career, right? So if you guys know, NASDAQ is pharmaceutical and tech companies, primarily tech, right? And in tech, you have Tesla. Tesla is owned by Elon Musk, all right? So I was a big Elon Musk fan, all right? Still are. But when I started seeing him promote Dogecoin and the possibility of where it could go, I went in as well. All right, I went in as well, and I managed to pull 750,000 Rand out of my first Dogecoin investment. All right, 750,000 Rand is roughly, let's just say $30,000. All right, so I made $35,000 with Dogecoin. And that's essentially what started my crypto journey, was Dogecoin, right? Because I made money with Dogecoin. I got in, I got out. It kind of sparked interest with cryptocurrency. So I saw that all the cryptos kind of reacted like how the stocks did. Everything was down. There was a lot of opportunity to purchase and hold for long term. So every single month of that year, I bought crypto. Every single month, the money that I made, which I couldn't spend on anything, I couldn't go out, I couldn't travel, I didn't necessarily want anything nice for myself. I just bought crypto. And I got into really, really good price points. I got into Ethereum, Solana, XRP, AVAX, Immutable, you name it. I got into really, really good projects, right? The reason why I didn't get into Bitcoin was because the percentage gain that I got from Dogecoin really excited me, right? Because I got in before the upside. And the price that I saw with Bitcoin, for me, the upside was already there. So I realized that, look, if I'm investing into cryptocurrency, I don't necessarily have to invest into Bitcoin, right? But Bitcoin is a market mover. Once Bitcoin goes up or down, so does the other cryptocurrencies. So instead, I used Bitcoin more so as an indicator for when the other cryptocurrencies are going to go up or down. The moment Bitcoin gets adopted, we can see adoption with other cryptocurrencies, and other cryptocurrencies would do well as well. First year trading, made the most money that I ever did in that period, and then I did the same thing the second year. Traded second year, I think I had 2 losing months in that second year, but the same system. Bought cryptos every single month, and by the time that COVID somewhat recovered, cryptocurrencies were already at a good point of recovery. My portfolio was looking really, really good. And what I realized was there's some good synergy between day trading and crypto. Same thing with day trading and traditional investments. How I see investments is investments are more so long-term, right? Where obviously day trading is very short-term. You can scalp, you can day trade, you can swing trade, all right? But investments, you as an investor are mainly looking for a specific price point and a specific exit point for your investment, right? And that will take a long period of time. If you see a stock that you really want to invest in, but it's not necessarily a good time to invest in, you're going to wait until it gets to that price point, right? Where with day trading, the beauty of day trading is you can make money whether the stock goes up or down, all right? And not only can you make money from both angles, but you also develop a skill, all right? You develop a skill where you can understand how the market moves to a point where I don't want to say that you can predict what the market's going to do, but you have a good understanding of the direction of where the market could go, all right? Again, not a 100% prediction, but you can say there's an 80% chance that the market could go here based on X, Y, Z. And with that skill set, that's what I did with my crypto portfolio. I took my ability to day trade, and I was day trading NASDAQ and gold. I took that ability and I implemented into long-term investments. All right, I implemented into long-term investments. So I knew that, look, I'm only going to get into Solana at $100. Ethereum, I'm going to wait for $144 because of this, all right? And I managed to get into those price points, and I held. So there's kind of this great cycle with what I was doing, right? I was day trading, I was making profits, and then with that profits, I would put a percentage into my crypto investments, and then obviously, into cost of living, and then another amount into obviously savings. And I would just do a constant cycle. And after doing that since the end of 2019, my crypto portfolio has grown tremendously, right? Tremendously. Like from where I was when I first started, thinking that I only had $1,000 left trading, to now having a $3 million crypto portfolio. I didn't think I would ever be in this position, but especially in 5 years, all right? Especially in 5 years. And like I said, it's not a traditional story. Like, a lot of people would be unprofitable for 3-4 years or 2 years. They would have a bunch of mentors. For me, it was a couple months of being unprofitable. But when I saw profits in my first month, it was crazy profits of $14,000 to $15,000, right? Yes, my second month I lost 10. I didn't have any mentors, but I did learn through people doing analysis. I did read books. I did watch YouTube videos. That's what I say. It was quite an interesting angle of how I started trading and how I got into this position right now. So that's my story with day trading, right? I've been day trading for 5 years. I started Crown Club, my day trading community, 4 years ago, and we've grown to over 20,000 members. The link is in the description if you aren't in already. So essentially, every single day I live stream on that. I give my pre-markup analysis. I send coins that I'm looking to invest in. We also have our university and one-on-one mentorship. But it's just crazy for me to see that, 5 years ago, I was looking to become the Asian Mark Zuckerberg, right? And kind of at heart, I still really want to be in the tech space. But the skill set that I've learned now with day trading and the figures that I've achieved in such a short period of time, I just want to keep on doubling down onto this, right? And the thing is, a lot of people might say it's luck, right? Come into our community and have a look at the wins, all right? Have a look at the amount of people that are trading under prop firms, or their certificates, or their payouts, and tell me that it's luck. It's not luck, it's just the willingness, all right? Your willingness to learn, to put sacrifice and actually give it a go. And I tell people this so many times, right? If you're going to do something, firstly, you have to do it right, but you can't give it a go for a week or a month, right? You need to honestly dial in for at least minimum 3 months, and then afterwards, with 3 months of you trying really, really hard and giving it your all, you can determine whether it's for you or not for you, right? And look, the hill is really, really steep to climb with trading. There's so many obstacles, especially when I first started trading, I didn't know about prop firms, right? And if you don't know about prop firms, come into our Discord and you'll learn all about prop firms. But I've said this many times, if I had prop firms when I first started trading, or at least knew about prop firms at an earlier stage, my portfolio and my bank account would be times 10. Would literally be times 10. And why I say that is because the barrier of entry with prop firms is actually crazy for what you get, right? Yes, it is really tough to pass an evaluation, phase 1 and phase 2. But the thing is, you go in under that evaluation, you are learning that risk management, right? You are not necessarily going to be in a position where I was in my second month where I lost $10,000. And not only $10,000 as a whole, but $10,000 of your own money, right? If you fail a challenge, depending on what size account you got, you lost between $10 to $600, all right? But I think prop firms are great and also horrible. It really depends. Look, in terms of when I say it's horrible, I don't necessarily mean that the good prop firms are bad, right? I just think that the prop firm space is so saturated right now that there are so many bad prop firms, all right? Their goals aren't necessarily as positive as they say, but there's also a ton of good prop firms out there as well. So, yeah, that's a little bit out of course. Again, that could be a completely different video, but that's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be showing you a little tour of my villa here in Phuket, all right? This will be my base for the next couple of months. I want to show you how the villa looks, and it's kind of like a house tour, all right? But again, with a house tour, I'm not going to show you my bathroom. I'm not going to show you my room. Probably will show you my room, but I'm actually only going to show you the cool shit in this house, all right? Me just walking around saying, look, this is where the magic happens. This is the second bathroom. This is the 10th bedroom. That's boring, all right? It's a 4-bedroom villa. There's a sick pool. There's a sick kitchen. I'll run you through it quickly, but I'm going to show you the very, very cool stuff that me as a South African finds very, very cool. All right, so when you come into the villa, this is what you see. All right, cool little kitchen, your basic living stuff. This is where the magic happens. So you see here, NASDAQ analysis, the community over here. All right, and then this is where I just filmed the little video that you guys watched. And this is the cool shit. All right, this is the cool shit of the house. So when have you ever seen direct pool access from your couch? All right, I don't know, but I think that's pretty freaking sick. And then another cool thing is this button here, you know, okay, cool. You would typically think this thing turns on lights. Yes, 2 of them do. But this little bad boy over here, fountain. How freaking cool is that? And jet streams. I think that is MTV Cribs worthy. So this is outside of the villa. 2 little pool beds, the fountain, outdoor shower. Like, come on, every single place that has an outdoor shower is pretty freaking sick, right? Sick view, and yeah. All right, so that's the outside of the villa. Again, I'm only going to show you guys the cool bits of the house. What else is cool? This is pretty sick. Let me show you guys this. All right, so you might just think this is a typical stove. All right, and then when you see this, I don't know, some of you guys might think this is a TV. No, this is one of those things that suck up the air and show you what you are cooking in terms of the lights and stuff. How freaking cool is that? All right. Honestly, guys, it's the little things. All right. Like, I get excited over like really dumb shit. Second thing, cool little window. You can see yourself swimming. Another cool window. You can see yourself swimming. This is the guest bedroom, and then staircase. Yeah, it's a 4-bedroom villa, and then just filled with like crazy windows, man. Like, come on. I know like a lot of you guys right now are just imagining a bunch of baddies outside by this pool. Like, you know, it's pretty freaking cool. The bedroom over here, basically like they kind of all the same design. Nothing really. Okay, this is pretty sick. Shower with a bathtub, you know, and a cool little ladder. But like, I don't know, I think that's pretty dope. And heading over to the main bedroom, we have same size bed throughout, a cool little balcony of the forest. Wait, there's actually one more cool thing over here. Same scenario with the shower and the bathtub. You can bath and shower at the same time. I know some of you freaks enjoy that. And this is freaking cool. Alright, so this is the last and final cool thing that I'll show you at this house tour. No, it's not the balcony. It is this cool little window. How sick does that look? Alright, how sick does that look? So this is the villa where I'll be based at for a couple months here in Phuket. It's really, really cool. And yeah, to think, you know, 5 years ago, I put all my faith into an app, had $1,000 left to my name, and I decided to just go all in and not half-ass it. And now we're here. You know, we're in a villa that has a window to the lounge, a button for the fountain, you know, ping pong balls as lights. Like, come on, man. You know, anything is possible. Like, honestly, I think that if someone like me can achieve all of this, you know, but not only achieve this, but do it in 5 years, Like, look, I'm not gonna, undermine of what I did. I worked my ass off for this. I worked my ass off to be in this position. Um, countless nights of, countless months of only sleeping for 3-4 hours a night, crying over trades, arguing with my family because of trades, not going out because of trades. But, once you actually lock in and put your head down, these are the rewards. These are the rewards that you get from actually locking the F in, putting in the work. Nothing comes easy, Nothing comes easy at all. And if you want to be in a community that everyone has goals like this, that, everyone has a different reason why they're trading. Some could be income supplementation, some could be income replacement, financial freedom, you name it. Everyone has a crazy amount of different goals. But whatever your goal is, if you want to do well in trading, you need to be with a good community and a community that actually knows what the F they're doing, right? It's not fake money, there's no fake accounts, there's no fake advice. Everything's raw and transparent, just like this video. So if you want to be in the sickest trading community ever, we do crypto, we trade NASDAQ, we trade gold. I'm live every single day with my peeps. Click the link in below. It will take you to a Discord group called Crown Club. That's my company, and I hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching the YouTube vids, and I appreciate you guys. See you on the DC.